All right. Hello and welcome. It is Sunday and it's the Snowbirds meeting room. I'm not on the actual Snowbirds meeting room channel. I am on the main channel today. I'm Shadow Spectre 11 and I'm here with Tone and Space Guy Ty. And today this particular uh, Snowbirds meeting room is about um, how can I put it? It's about the new MFDs, the new weapons grouping, what changes have been made in from 324.1 to what we're seeing now in 324.2. And there's a lot of things going on with this. It's very controversial, but in the new patch that is dropping today, the new build, um, Yogi Klatt has already stated that there's going to be some changes made, and it's going to alleviate some of the issues that we're having with the new MFDs. So, hey, Billy's Brew, what's up? So I'm gonna kick it over and get us going.
Roger that, flight. Good.
All right. So, can you guys hear me? I don't know if you can hear me or not. Or,
Yeah,
uh,
I can hear you.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, with this, Toad, you haven't been in this build yet, as far as the PTU, but you've been playing in uh, 324.1. What don't you like about it, and what do you like? What do you like? And also, what have you seen that is going to be in 2024 too?
Well, I like the way that they are now pointing out where to land at various locations, cities, and so on, because at one point you pretty much had to guess where that was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of master modes, but I understand the reasoning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not a fan of everything slowing down because it seems like a vague attempt at making a small place bigger. But if you slow it down, you have the ability to maneuver a clumsy ship
Mm-hmm.
with more accuracy. I can't wait for recruitable shipmates that you can get off of the local stations. That would be
NPCs.
nice. Yes, the NPC crew would be nice to
Mm-hmm.
have,
Mm-hmm.
especially since Star Citizen on the whole is migrating towards a group flight model,
Okay.
which I'm gonna hold reservation on because I don't have enough experience to give an informed opinion.
Okay.
Um, Looking forward to the new MFDs. What I've seen from your posts, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
is they look like they are becoming more useful information without overwhelming the pilot with stuff that he's not going to look at.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. I like that.
Okay. Um, in this in Thai, you have been in since Ivacati,
Mm.
and your thoughts from 24.1 to 24.2, because you're Ivacati, you know a little bit more about what is going on inside of that. aspect.
Uh, well, as far as the ship slowdown tone, are you referring to the across the board decrease in ship boost speeds?
Yes.
That was not intended. That was a misunderstanding. Yogi put that out in a post in Spectrum somewhere. I'm sure it shows up on Dev Tracker if you want to find it. But the gist is that there was a miscommunication within CIG, and that change got posted. They do intend to do a full pass on all ship speeds, but that's going to come in with other performances, and that reduction has been reverted at this time. Like that, the current .2 build in testing doesn't have that change.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, that wasn't intended. That was a miscommunication with the CIG. So that's one of your concerns. Down. I
Nice.
can't address your master mode concerns because I mean we're all familiar with that, and that's not a. I'm just so tired of talking about master modes with people.
I understand. Trust me, I get it.
Uh, but yeah, that I don't have any other like deep insights that people don't really already know that aren't readily available unless you have a specific question you could ask that you're not sure about.
I don't.
Well,
I don't have. Yeah.
you or anybody listening, anybody that wants to.
Um, okay, now we're at wave one, and they're talking about a build today that'll potentially take us to wave two. We're on the fast track now because we're very close to CitizenCon. It's 13 days away. Um, in the patch notes that dropped yesterday. So, sure, what is Ty's opinion on the single fire key? Well, that's being changed. Go ahead, Ty.
My opinion on that is that I mean I'm gonna draw a line here and say that my opinion is that they should have had weapon group firing keybinds in the beginning, but I'm not going to pretend to know, like, I'm not going to insult their decision making process or accuse them of not knowing what they're doing because I wasn't in those meetings, right? I don't know what all they have to deal with or what all they have to do. One now that is being addressed. Yogi has just put up a post right before this saying that it is in an upcoming build to have this stuff, and he mentions that it only works it doesn't work for QED or QIDs because those are implemented slightly different, and only the pips and targeting info will be displayed for the current active group, right? Which that kind of sheds a light on, like, I didn't even think about pip matching, right? So you've got a person, let's say they had come out with the different weapon groups fire buttons all at once, but what pips are you looking at? Are you looking at your number one group, your number two group? Are you looking at all guns, all pips, all the time? If so, how do you know which pips correlate to the weapon group that you're attempting to fire at that time? So that may have contributed to why they went like those are questions I didn't even think to ask. That may
Well,
have contributed to why they went the way they did in the first place, so that your pips always matched up. I'm sure they'll implement a solution so that maybe you can select which pips you want showing all the time, or something more complex. But yeah, they're addressing it. The feedback on Spectrum was so big and so loud that they made it a priority, and they're addressing it at least in some small simple way.
all right. Can I add to that?
No,
Okay.
no. I said I covered everything. There's nothing. No, of course.
In Elite Dangerous, weapons modes is nothing new. You have as many as you need for all the various types of stuff on your ship. So I'm accustomed to switching modes in that already. Now, they do not have pip alignment matching per mode, which I could really would have liked to have had, because if you have all ballistic, you don't need a whole lot of energy going to your weapons. But if you have all energy, you need all of the pips assigned to your weapons for maximum power. I
Do
would love
all
to have had that in Elite Dangerous,
Hey,
but it
Robert.
was not existent in game.
do all the weapons in ED travel at the same velocity, or do they have different velocities?
They have different velocities, but the miniguns travel at the same velocity as the lasers. But if you have projectile cannons or um, electronic slug throwers, I forget what they're called, they travel at different speeds. So your pips on screen are at two different places as you're turning your reticles. And so you have to line everything up straight on to get all of your fire at the same place. So by managing your weapons so that you can turn on and off specific groups, you can actually overcome that.
Okay.
Okay. I just
Uh,
yeah, that's yeah, the more I think about it, the more complex that question becomes.
oh yeah.
Because I mean, how do you know what pips? How does a player, one, know what pips do you want on screen at any given time? Two, where in the settings do you set that? How can you change it on the fly in combat according to what you need at that given time? And how much work needs to go into the back, under the hood, into the coding and into the game? How much work needs to go in order to just give the player that suite of capabilities?
All right. I can't answer those questions, but from my experience in another game, you have two cut buttons press up, a forward and a back. We'll just use 3 and 4 for instances. 3 goes up the chain, A, B, C, D, E. 4 goes down the chain, D, C, B, A. So what you end up with is you remember what group is which letter and the number of presses on the button. And you can set that up in the cockpit at an MFD in that game. And in Elite Dangerous, not Elite Dangerous, but Star Citizen has an MFD that's almost there. It's the weapons on off panel
Mm-hmm.
where you can assign weapon power. All they got to do is add one function to that, weapons grouping. And then you can go just turn them on and off in the list and then set your pips for your energy shields and engine power management through
Hey,
these. Do what, sir?
I'm saying, hey, Shaped. He's in the chat. Go ahead. I'm
Oh, hey,
sorry.
Dave.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine. But if you can set it up on the fly in your cockpit, then you will, as you progress through these different battle scenarios from novice to expert, you learn how to set your weapons categories up according to need, which is how I set my joystick and keybinds up, is according to what I need. And then it seems ergonomic to use versus having to learn to press Q to go backwards versus S. I don't have to learn a new way. I just let the game kind of set itself up as I go along.
Now,
Okay.
Yogi also said that in one of his other posts, I'm looking at it now, that he was thinking about having a binding that is set and fire. So instead of pulling the trigger to fire, just let's say you're set for group 4 and you want to fire group 1, so you press the fire group 1 key, but you don't have pips. But if that key isn't just fire group 1, it's set and fire, then when you fire it, the pips switch over immediately. So maybe you get a round or two before you can pull those new pips on. So that's, I think, is a probably, at least for now, is a good way to go about it.
Okay.
My
Um, here's my
biggest, I'm sorry,
here's
go
my
ahead.
question on that. If your capacitors are depleted when you go to set fire a different group, then you're going to run into your ship not being able to keep up with the various uses of the weapons.
Yeah,
So,
that's oh God, that's a power management and resource network
yes.
issue that they're going to have to solve, and that's a whole other big
Mm-hmm.
can of worms that
That is correct.
I'm just not prepared for.
But, oh, I understand that. But I'm just putting it out there so that the conversation can be addressed.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm leaning heavily on the power management and resources because the larger ships in game that are going to have multiple weapons with multiple groups are going to have power resource management issues unless you have capacitors for that particular weapon, like the turrets on a lot of ships have their own capacitors.
Well, right now that's a problem. I don't know if you've read some of the feedback on this.
I have not.
Okay, so the Caterpillar, for instance, I want to say the Caterpillar turrets have like 780 rounds of repeater. If I'm off, I'm not off, but by more than 100.
It's not
I don't
matter.
think.
You're just using a
Yeah.
number to illustrate a
Yeah.
point.
Well, now with the new resource network, and Yogi has said that this is on their radar, it's already bugged up, and they are working on it, right? But now with the new resource network setup, right, those have been, even with full power to weapons, those are down to 68 shots, and these are repeaters. You got 68 shots, so that's 9% of what they used to have, which makes turrets with repeaters, and that's full power where you don't have much in the way of shields or engines, so you can't absorb a lot of hits, you can't move, and you can't dish out much damage. So yeah, that's absolutely a thing that they're working on, they're aware of, and they're working on. But let's say they get that sorted, right? That's a reason why you're going to want an engineer on board, someone who can look at a situation. I mean, the pilot's busy flying, right? He's got his own stuff he's got to manage. The gunners are busy gunning. They can't have their heads in the MFDs. Um, that's why you're going to want at least one engineer on board to just manage power and make intelligent decisions in a dynamic environment as to where power is absolutely needed.
Okay.
Agreed.
I think that could be some very engaging uh, team play.
Okay.
That also encourages team specialties development where the person has to learn the flight and play style of the other teammate.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But now on
The
the
more you fly with, essentially, the more you fly with a group, the better that group is.
yes, well that's true of anything.
Yeah.
But at what point does this create an issue similar to a seagoing game where people that have vast experience in learning all this stuff refuse to play with a new person because quote unquote they don't know what the hell they're doing?
You know what? That I think that is a problem that needs to be addressed by players and orgs.
Yeah,
That is not CIG's responsibility. Like
that is absolutely correct.
orgs like this one, the Snowbirds, always offering, and you've got my own org, the Frontier, and even, I mean, whether you like them or hate them, Avenger Squadron, right? They are there's Garden Interstellar Initiative, Loud Guns Org, Frontier Consolidated. There are orgs upon orgs who are dedicated to teaching new players, and that's a great thing. I think we're actually starting off in a great position, community wise, um, better than a lot of other games. So I don't think a new player might run into that type of attitude, but I don't think a new player is going to have to search long for a group that is willing to take them on and teach them,
All right, well that
because it
brings up
benefits everybody.
correct, but that brings up another point. When I was a new player, I had no idea any of this existed. It was not even on the spectrum of my knowledge base because you don't know to look for that. How could we, as a group, any org, put this information out there in a way that the brand new player can find it without coming into it with the, oh my God, why didn't I know this?
Well, I think communities are already doing as much as they can, right? You've got all of those orgs that I just mentioned, including this one. My org doesn't have a streamer, but most of the orgs have a streamer that's always out there putting that information out. So if you want to Google some information on Star Citizen and how to do it or how to learn, you're gonna find it.
Okay.
On the other side of it, it shouldn't all be on the community, right? CIG does have links, like Learn to Play is right there on the front page, or it used to be
It's still
before the
there.
new.
It's still
But it's
there.
still there.
Hmm.
Yeah, Learn to Play is right there. It links you into the guide system. You can learn about the organizations, but it is a bit of a hassle to kind of get into that stuff on the CIG page. But
Hmm.
if you do, right, you can find YouTube videos. You can find org pages. Who put their information out there. Uh, CIG has honestly, well, they have their good days and their bad days when it comes to communication. But what they have done, and I think really well, is enable the community to share. And that's really mutually beneficial because the community gets to build themselves and get into the game with groups and have fun and give tons of feedback. And it takes a lot of that onus off of CIG while they are trying to build not one but two games. Ultimately, we still need from CIG really solid org tools, better upfront communications about what the game is, and they could make the learn to play easier to find.
All right. Now to segue back to the original conversation of what we like and don't like about the upcoming patches and so on.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there for a second. Okay, um, we all know with the changes that were made, there was a lot of communication on Spectrum about this, and we've already gone over it. But all I'm saying is, I do want to know what's going on. Of course, we all do. When things are not mentioned and something is found, it escalates into a large drama fest. And just like Ty said, CIG has their good days when they communicate, and CIG's had their bad days when they communicate. And to be fair, and I'm going to go with this, CIG throws out those Spectrum threads for feedback. And I didn't realize this until I started thinking about it, and it was like, this is where we can say what we need to say. But just I look at it like this, please, and this is what I say to everybody, that we need to be respectful to people that are giving us something that we want. We don't get it right away, but they're working at it. And there's some things that I've had issues with that I was upset about, but I didn't, like, you know, jump down their throats. I put my feedback in respectfully, and I think that's what we need, to be respectful towards the people that are giving us something, and CIG needs to be respectful to us. It goes both ways, not just one. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, you're right.
And this is the one reason why I wanted to do this today, is to say something to the community. Please, you know, we got to be respectful for each other, because we're all adults. We're playing something that we enjoy. There, of course, there are going to be issues and problems, but be respectful, and they will come back to you as respectful as they can. So, you know, kindness kindness is key in this situation that we're in. So, just my thought. But to get back to the changes, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
No, you're
No,
fine. You're
I
this is your stream. You're good.
I can add on to that too.
Hit it.
Go ahead.
I mean, there are two or three things that really get my goat when I see people posting on Spectrum, and one is like, well, the number one is personal attacks on the devs. Period. There's no excuse for that. You don't call developers stupid. You don't tell them that they don't know what they're doing, because I mean, from an objective standpoint, that is just flat out untrue. These are not stupid people. These are industry veterans with centuries of combined experience. Like, this is not a rookie crew. They may have some rookies on board, but this is not a rookie crew. And some of the people have not only been working in the industry, but working on this specific game, well, for 12 years, right?
Longer than
We
that,
all know.
actually.
Yeah, we all know. Yeah, what was it, 2012, the original Kickstarter?
Yes.
It's closer to 15 counting back time for getting it set up.
Yeah, the original proposal, the original, yeah, all of that. But actual, like, from the Kickstarter, 12 years, I mean, these people know their job. Not saying they don't ever make mistakes. Not saying that they're perfect. But to say that they are stupid and they don't know what they're doing is just flat out false. Don't say that crap.
Can I add to that?
Because
one
you
little
are
thing?
just stupid if you say that. You're just showing that you don't know what you're talking about. Absolutely, you can.
All right, at the end of the day, a lot of this stems from people not realizing that this game is in development. A lot of people play this like it's a finished product.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that mindset, the changes they make frustrate people because they're used to a AAA game holding their hand through whatever process it takes to minimize the amount of thought input into enjoying their time sitting in front of the screen. Now, when they add a change, that disrupts this whole process, and then they have to do something called learning. Yes, I'm being smartass.
Yep.
And because of this process of learning, they're brought out of their comfort zone, basement, whatever the case may be, and that they don't know how to deal with these emotional frustrations. So they can lash out at the direction they believe is the cause. And I've seen that time and time again. Okay.
I have
I'm
a
done.
I have a pretty solid level of empathy, sympathy, and goodwill towards newer players who are getting into
yeah.
the game, who don't understand, who get frustrated, and maybe they lash out on Spectrum. I'm not saying that that's still not an excuse to attack the devs, right? Still
Right.
not. But if
I'm
you
I'm
get on
not saying
Spectrum
it
and
is.
yeah, if you get on Spectrum and go on a rant and maybe say some, how angry you are, and maybe it's not useful feedback, but whatever. Yeah, I'm not saying there's an excuse, but I can still understand it.
Well, I was playing more of the
But
devil's advocate
no,
because there's no excuse to blow up on somebody. And we've all had our days where that inadvertently happens. But
yeah,
Spectrum isn't the place for that. I've been known to get on the help desk for Spectrum and just hand out comments like, have a good day, hope you're feeling good. Do y'all need help with anything? Stuff like that, even though I'm not a help desk individual.
well, what really gets me is those comments that I was talking about earlier, and the person starts off saying, I've been a backer for 10 years or whatever, like way longer. Like, no, I got no sympathy for you, right? I mean, maybe at the very beginning, I understand if this game isn't turning out to what you want it to be, and I'm sorry if that's the case, right?
How
But at
much
some point, when do you cut bait? when
Cut,
do,
cut
at
your
what
losses.
yeah at what point is it your fault for coming back? And that's a subjective
All right, now I
question.
have a
That's different
question
for
for you.
everybody.
How much of the toxic behavior brought on by the old time people that have been around forever is actually the nature of the person themselves?
Hmm.
For instance, I have been
Man,
around.
I don't even know. It's kind of impossible because I don't see myself. I try to see myself as a pretty level-headed guy, but
Yeah,
I've been known to be toxic when I've been frustrated and in a bad mood, and there's no excuse for it when I have been. Um, the only thing you can do is not make excuses, just make an apology. When
right,
you realize you're in the wrong, don't double down and try and like just own it.
right. But see, there's a thing there you're doing. It's called being a grown up. The people I've run into that are continually toxic almost create environments so they can be toxic.
There are a lot of people like that. I try not to assume that unless I see that person's name above a huge trend of that stuff. Like
Yeah.
uh what's his name, Buzzcut Psycho, like people like that. No.
Well,
Uh,
Like but it's
I'm
very
trying. We don't want to bring
we don't.
content creators in and have
you're
them
right.
with them. So, but
I
Yeah.
apologize. I shouldn't have mentioned his name. I shouldn't have shed light on it. That's my fault. I'm
All
sorry.
right. Now, on having mentioned him, what positives does he bring to the group that
None.
you're aware of?
None.
So, is it his moniker to be salty and bring
I
negative
I'm
to?
not gonna. I'm not gonna try and speculate his
Okay.
motivations. I'm not even gonna try. He is a net negative for humanity.
Leave it at that.
he brought that on himself, and just like Space Tomato said, uh, when he found out what was going on, he pulled his interview with him.
I didn't want to. I don't want to move the topic towards him specifically. I was just using him as an example of
Correct.
like it takes a lot. It takes a lot of a trend for me to actually say, okay, this person is a problem, right? Because anybody can have a bad day.
Well,
And
Right.
I don't sit there on Spectrum and keep track of you know a person's good posts versus their bad posts, or what their trends are. So mostly to me, I see individual posts that I may agree with or disagree with, and I may comment on them or not, but I try and reserve judgment on the actual quality of that person's character.
well, okay. I'm going to say this, and I know that a lot of people don't know that this is what I've been through since I started streaming. Hey, Tribunal. When I got into the game, and I'm was kind of praised for my first attempt at streaming, first video I made. Um, as time went on, as I started getting more and more involved with the community and things of that nature, uh, I've gotten hate mail. I have gotten rude and mean comments. People telling me to stop. People telling me to quit while you're ahead. And things of that nature because of the way I play and the way I present what SC is on a different aspect. And it, I mean, you guys don't know because I've never said anything. And that's a lot of stress on my end that you don't know about. But now I'm letting you know. This is what happens, and I get it all the time. So, that's why I don't go into this. That's why I don't get in with anything about uh, other content creators and the community, I only put in information that is necessary. Zrath- Zrathri says, "What? You're one of the calmest, coolest SC streamers." Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, I've gotten that. And I just bring SC to a different level and try to keep it that way and make it a good experience. So this is something that I deal with a lot. And like I said, I've never told my community, my subscribers, my friends in the game about this because it's something that I've always kept to myself. But there are times when I've gotten so upset. And there's one day that I did not stream. I got off and had to take a small simpatico for a day or 2 days. And that's what happens when the community can be sometimes very, very toxic towards streamers. They can be very toxic to them. So that's why I don't, uh, make a whole lot of comments about a streamer stream. I just go along with basically what they're doing. I do my thing, they do theirs, and you know that's it. So I try not to get streamers involved. So just my 2 cents on that. But okay, to get back on topic, our 24.1 to 24.2 changes. As far as the MFDs go, just the look of them, the generic look of what you've seen so far, Tone. What do you like and what do you not like? Feel free.
For what I like I like the way that you can actually type into the
Star map.
start. Thank you. The destination you want to go to to pull it up,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't always lock on and go there. I don't. That's kind of a like dislike. I don't understand that sometimes why it does that, even though you're literally right above it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another change that has been made is if you are in the radius of the lights of a orbital station, you have to jump to the planet before you can jump to a location.
That's not intended.
That's what I thought.
Ty said something about that when we were in the 324.1 uh, build in
Yeah,
PTU.
there's a known issue that's spanned across several build patch notes about how you have to jump. Something like you can't get a quantum route to a planet location while in orbit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's a known issue. Be happy when it's fixed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Because coming out of a station, you should be able to just go right to your destination. But now with this issue where you have to go to the planet and stuff like that, it's kind of crazy.
I'd like to throw in
Another
a little side note real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If like I urge people to consider just sometime if you're at an LEO station and you want to get down to the main LZ,
Mm-hmm.
hand fly it the whole way. If you're in the mood for just a kind of a chill, just enjoy flying a ship and being in the verse, that is just a great route. Grab a little bit of cargo and pop it in your little ship and just enjoy the ride all the way down to, Area 18 from Baijini or up the other way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
truth. Yes. Um, Another change that is kind of a mixed bag for me is the ship storage. A lot of people would raid bunkers and then load their ship up with the on-site inventory, and that has gone away to the point where you now have to be more realistic and take a crate with you.
Mm-hmm.
But how often have you gone to the grocery store and carried a 1 SCU crate into the grocery store to buy your groceries?
A lot of people are not happy with that change. Just gonna say
Right.
it.
I mean, isn't that why you kind of have a backpack?
Well,
Now,
I'm not.
granted,
Sorry.
physically the backpack can't hold a helmet. It's just right. And for the longest time, anytime I raided a bunker, I had a crate with me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just an annoyance on my part.
Well, you road rash. You have to fly out of the sphere of influence, as it were, to jump to the planet. Uh, Well, they did that. Like I said, it wasn't intended. It's a bug. It's a known issue. Road rash. We we used to not have to do that, and um, that's something that it is a known issue. Like Ty and I were talking about. Uh, then every time I go to the grocery store, I have a backpack on. Okay, and yeah, some ships don't have any storage for Billy's Brew. Um, that changed in didn't that change in 24.0, where some of the ships didn't have they took away the external inventory, and then you have to go find the area to see which one you're looking at, Ty.
Um, I'm not sure what you mean. Took away an external inventory? I don't think
So
they
Remember,
they
took
had
away.
the internal inventory where you could just hit inventory in your ship, and
Oh, internal inventory. Yeah, 323 is, or no, sorry, 324.0 is when they took away just the normal ship internal inventory. Yeah,
hmm
you're correct.
hey Gortok, I can't find storage on my carrying, so I have to bring a SCU box, one SCU. And Tribunal, with all the keybinds increasing, I wish CIG would allow the use of virtual F key extension, i.e., allow us to use F13, F20 keys as keybinds. Yeah, the physicalized inventory. Um, there are ships that allow the C2 to get to that inventory. You have to go up to the top deck, and you have to find the storage area, and that is where you open it, and then you can put stuff inside the ship. So I know where that one is. Other ships, you have to hunt for it. But go ahead, you guys. You guys were saying something.
I don't know, Tom, were you finished with your comments on it?
completely done, sir.
As far as the MFDs go, I mean, everything to be said about the storage has kind of been said. Anybody who's played it has their own opinion of exactly where inventory should and shouldn't be, and I that's. I mean, it could be better, it could be worse, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Everybody has a different definition for where they want their immersion to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the one thing I was really kind of disappointed in was the new MFDs. Not because I love that they are much more readable, right? They're more intuitive. They're easier to understand. What I was looking for was a little bit more variety. Right now, they the variety is in like the heads-up display and the holographic stuff, but the actual and that's minimal variety. The actual MFDs are basically they're the same across the board for all ships. How they look and how they act, they're just different color schemes, which is not necessarily wrong because there's a level of how much do we want a player to have to learn just going from one manufacturer's ship to another, right? If I have a Hornet and I have a air, not a arrow, that's also ammo, but like a Hornet and a Saber, right? How much difference do they want me as a player to have to learn in order to operate these? On the other hand, it's like I want more variety between my manufacturers. I don't mind having to learn where this stuff is on this new one, but that's me.
Well, you got to
Uh,
remember
and they may go on and make more variety between manufacturers. It'll be a process that they dial in, I am sure.
well, we've already got some ships that have theirs set. A lot of the others are running generics right now. So once
Set
those
is
get in,
a
yeah,
yeah, set is a strong word for CIG. They are what they are right now.
yeah. I mean, there's certain ones that are there, but they're probably not set in stone for certain manufacturers. But all of the others that have the generic ones will have to see what they look like until it comes. But I know, Toad, you've watched some of what is going on in the PTU. Um, a lot of things, I'm going to say, Wave 1 is always the roughest part of the PTU, but Ivocati's even worse. Okay? And we don't even see that. Ty just tells me. Um, like I say, I am on the road to it. I am working towards it because this is something that I've always wanted to get into is um, game development and being a tester, and that's my goal. It's not a massive life goal, but it is something that I've always been interested in, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And uh, when I do get into Evocati, crossing my fingers, I will be relaying information as much as I possibly can. Um, I know I can't show anything div- or take screenshots of anything, but I will be able to talk about it. And that's what I want to get to for the Snowbirds as an organization, so they're getting firsthand information of what is coming. And that I want to do that for you all. So, uh, MFDs on the Nomad are awesome. HUD is still a little cluttered, but much better overall. And you can configure that too, Gortok. But I'm sorry, I just had to let everybody know what my main goal is for the game, and getting to that point where I'm more involved in the development. So, anybody else got any comments, questions on the
Thing I would
MFDs?
like to see implemented in game, which would require some serious coding,
Mm-hmm.
is being able to set your controls up per ship. Because a big ship flies completely different than a small one. And if you have your controls set up for your big ship, when you fly your small ship, you overreact and it's hard to control.
A good point.
You're
Um,
talking about maybe changing your saturation in your curves
Yes.
depending on what you're flying.
And
mm,
a way to save those for specific ships.
joystick config, Gortok says.
Well, actually, you can kind of do that now, right?
Really?
Well, it doesn't automatically implement when you go into your ship, but if you go into the bindings and just hit save profile, you could. Well, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking key bindings. You can't save different curvature settings per ship. That's never mind. Never mind.
Okay. Well,
Forget it. Forget I opened my mouth.
no, but you know what? That is a very valid point because I'll fly the C2 a lot for a while, And then one day I got in the 100i to do a quick flight somewhere. Man, I was overcompensating like crazy, doing flip flops like a flapjack on a skillet. Okay,
Yep.
and I had to remember that it doesn't take as
Flapjacks.
yes, love them. Um, I had to remember that I was not flying the C2 where it takes more to pull the stick. You know, stuff like that. I mean, I got to get in a small ship every once in a while to remember that I don't need to compensate so much. But that's another thing. Next next thought in 24.2, we already know about the weapons grouping. We already know about the MFDs, that the HUD can be configured and some things can be taken off and added, or you can go with a totally almost clear HUD if you want to. Uh, that is a very viable option. For those that have been in there, Ty, were you able to lock a specific MFD to a specific screen? Or does it
Um.
always default back to scan mode?
Oh, I know what you mean. Okay, I haven't tested the functionality of this. I haven't. In other words, I haven't set my screens, stored my ship, and then come back and check to see if they were still there. But according to Yogi, the screens are set by the manufacturer setup when you get it,
Mm-hmm.
and any changes you make will persist in that ship, that specific ship. Not, they don't follow your character. Like if you got two Hornets, you'd have to do it for both of them. You can't set it for one and the other one automatically sets. But yeah, they are supposed to persist.
Oh,
I'm not going to assume that it works because I haven't tested it.
okay. I was yesterday. I
Oh,
was.
that said, when you claim,
Mm-hmm, it's gonna reset it.
yeah,
Yes,
it resets to the manufacturer settings.
but
And I think those manufacturer settings are pulled from your game settings in the options menu. If
mm-hmm.
I remember correctly, I'd have to double check the post on that one.
um, yesterday I was in the MSR and I was. I always like having a target info screen up in case I get attacked or whatever. And I clicked over to it using the arrows to go to that specific screen and had it on the MFD. Now I was doing something else and then I looked back and it reverted back to scan mode. So there's some arrows, to bring up the screen, or you can use the keybinds. And then I took the mouse and there's a status, like it kind of highlights. You can, from what I saw, you can lock that. You can click that and that locks the screen on the
Hmm.
MFD. So that's something I want to test today because I did it in the MSR and I want to see if it holds. So I'll find out a little bit later. But any other questions from the YouTube chat? Please feel free and let me know what's on your mind. Let me know what you're thinking. Tone, anything else that you uh, got on your brain that you want to bring from a change or something you like in 24.1? That
No, sir.
okay. Um, I mean, we are gonna see a lot of changes, and they're getting ready, hopefully, to go to wave two today. So we'll see what's going on with that and go from there and take a look.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Sure.
It deals with the reclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It would be awesome if they are wanting us to unload that ship to put it in personal inventory at landing locations to open the back bay door so that we don't have to funnel 85, 90 size 16 crates down that elevator 3 or 4 at a time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
make
they
it
need
so
an
we can,
interact back there.
God, yes. Or make it so we can sell from that ship.
Yes. What are the rumored buffs, etc., supposed to happen? Uh, that's a good question, Gortok, and it probably to speculate, I would say the implementation of server meshing 4.0. I can't say they may do it in a .x on 24. We don't know, but that's a good question. I have no idea. I have no idea.
What buffs?
The
Yeah.
ship buffs, the changes to the ships, like more shields on some, less.
Oh,
Yeah, the
as
nerfs and
far
stuff like that.
yeah, as far as I know, there is going to be minor balance passes, not major ones, right? Just minor tweaks done throughout the entire 24 patch cycle. So dot 2, if there's a dot 3, I hope there's not a dot 3. I hope we start evoing 4.0 really soon, but
New
that's
view
going to depend on for server meshing. I don't know what their targets are for server meshing.
Redeemer got nuked. New viewer here. When will we see the Zeus? Shave, seriously? Uh, we may.
You can see it right now. There's all kinds of videos and pictures on the internet. You can go look at it all you want.
we may see. I to answer that question with speculation. We may see it when we drop to all backers. I don't know. I don't know.
That brings up another question on the reclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be awesome if they would put a extra large landing pad with usability at the orbital stations, or fix the reclaimer so that it can dock at
Station.
a do what, sir?
Dock at a station.
Yeah, with the extendable boom. I forget what they call those.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the
The
Corvette does that.
docking arms. Yeah.
Yeah, because that limits the usability of the reclaimer to sell recycled materials at any of the major jump points, at any of the uh, places in orbit around planets.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of it you can sell at the admin office,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that would open up commerce for other gameplay for hauling this material to various places that could use it, or out of system for
Mm-hmm.
building materials.
Mm-hmm.
That creates several large loops for the game where industrial level players could
Mm-hmm.
actually create a livelihood in game, or sustainability for an organization in game.
Mm. Good point. It does have airlocks,
They're in the wrong place.
but they're there,
This is true.
and that could take the arm of, I mean, a docking arm to that area. I just don't know if it has that. That's something that CIG has to set up, but the airlocks are there on the ship, and to me, it should be able to dock like that. Zeus prop drop straight to life. That's a high. That's a very high possibility.
Yeah, they
Uh,
may hold it alive. We don't know.
there's a docking collar on the top, but the airlocks on the side, you should be able to soft dock that ship.
I don't know how there's not a system in the works that I know of right now that will utilize that top docking collar, right? That's they're either going to get rid of that or they're just going to call it an airlock. Maybe you'll climb up there and exit as if it's just a regular top hatch. I don't know what they're going to do with that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they could make it to where you can dock at those side airlocks. That would be great.
Yes, it would.
Um, what if you had to put boxes back in the hopper, and that would allow you to sell to the station? Hmm. That I don't know.
That's interesting. It limits your ability of onboard storage to 200-ish crates. 200-ish SCU, because I don't remember the exact number. But that, having spent a lot of time in a reclaimer, I wish that they would get rid of one of the hoppers and turn the other one sideways and push out 32 SCU crates for better storage manageability.
I mean, there's just a ton of different things that there's a ton of potential solutions for the reclaimer, but we're just going to
Yes.
have to wait and see what they decide to do with it.
Um,
And
there's
now,
there's a new
can I bring
post.
in a point here?
There,
Huh?
give me a
Pardon?
second. There's a new post about the P8 in PTU AC. Asked econ guys to add more ammo to shops, so all good on that front. Okay, so
Add more ammo, as if there was ammo.
oh wait a minute. First off, the gun has a great design. The sound is fantastic. It hits pretty hard. The one thing that's keeping me from absolutely loving it is how fast it fires. Now I understand it cannot be as fast as the S71, but this thing is just sluggish, unfun. It needs a pinch faster with the current recoil. Oomph is packing. Also, ammo is not available in game shops. With current state of the PTU, you only get 15 rounds and you're done. Okay, they are going to add the ammo for the P8 AR in game.
And he's just flat out telling them that that they're not going to change the fire rate because
No.
it's a strong rifle.
Right. So that was
I
from
could
Zach at CIG. So they are going to add the ammo. I don't know if it's, excuse me, I don't know if it's going to be in this build of the PTU, but I'm kind of hoping so because I really want to try that out a little bit more than just 15 shots.
Well, 30 if you take both of them, right? You got 2 with the Citizen Con goodies pack.
Yeah.
If you take both of them, then just hit that other, switch to the other rifle when one's out.
Yeah, you got a
That's
point.
30 whole shots, man.
Right? But yeah, that's something that they need to drop in the PTU.
Just to quote a movie, some of them are going to have to share a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great movie.
While I was thinking about the reclaimer, something that would be nice is an external, dispenser
Mm.
that actually the hopper that pushes boxes straight into an accompanying ship,
Mm-hmm.
say an open loading area of a C2, so that you can just straight unload into a C2 and just pump them out.
You need to just do a design doc on the Reclaimer Gold Pass and post it up in game ideas.
Mm.
Honestly, all the thought you put into this, you need to share it on the floor. But here's what you do: you go onto Spectrum, you write up your document, you post it in design forms, and then you do not go back and even listen to the comments. Like, don't go back. Once you've posted it, don't go back.
Just forget about it.
Yeah, just okay. you said it, because Spectrum is not going to have anything useful to say unless you see on the dev tracker that a dev has responded to your post. Don't even bother going back and looking at it.
All right, now
Sure, $1 a shot. Quit stealing my ammo. Okay. Give Gortok his ammo. Okay.
right. Can you DM me on how to set that up, the dev tracker thing? Because I don't have any of that set up.
It's not something you set up. Dev tracker is just a post on the site. You go to. I'll show you. I can shoot you a link, but I want to show you how to find it yourself. So let me share my screen.
Let's do that off.
Oh yeah, you're right. We can do that later. Sorry.
Yeah, that's yeah.
What's up? Excuse me. What's up, Red? Any other thoughts or comments about 24.2? Yeah,
Okay.
everybody wants to get a little bit more out of the P8 AR so we can test it. I do want to put some scopes on it and see what it looks like with the scope, and um, put a silencer on it and see. Um, that's pretty much it for what I have to let you all know what's going on and how things are going and how you feel about things. Like I say, just give me a heads up. You know, what size is that? That I'm not sure. I have to, when I go in there today, I'll have to check and see what size it is.
What size is what?
Is it a size 1, size 2? I think it's a size
Is
2
what?
or 3, the P8.
Oh
AR.
yeah, all attachments are size 2. Underbarrel, optic, barrel, they're all size 2.
Well, there you go, Gortok, size 2. So, same as the P4 AR. Those are size 2.
But before we move on, I got one last thing.
Shoot.
Like, there is a ton of changes coming, and there's going to be a lot of feedback. Just if you go and post on Spectrum, once you're done typing out, take a minute, reread your post, ask yourself, does this actually add to the conversation, or am I just ranting? Now, whether you decide to post it that way is up to you. Just be honest with yourself about your own motivations while you're doing it. And oh, dang it, I was going somewhere with this, and I completely lost my train of thought. I'll think about it when it's too late. It's cool. But yeah, just be objective. If you can't be kind, right? It's difficult to be kind sometimes. If you can't be kind, just be objective, as objective as you can. So,
Just my thought, you know. I just find that, you know, being able to, excuse me, to being able to say something in Spectrum during the feedback stages of what's going on with the patch is very helpful. Like I say, I'll read a lot, but there's sometimes a lot of time I won't say anything unless I find something that is really detrimental, and I just, you know, post what I say, but I'm not derogatory or anything like that. I mean, kindness goes a long way um, in that type of thing, in that type of scenario.
also, I'd like to give a shout out to CAD and throw out there that they have dropped a patch on Saturday and Sunday, and the entire company is all hands on deck, working 7 days a week for last week and this week and the next week, coming up to CitizenCon, I mean, if you don't have any particular feedback, if you got a chance and you feel like doing it, just jump in there and throw them a little love. Give them some wind in their sails because they are working their butts off. Whether you agree with a lot of the choices or their priorities, you can't. Well, I don't. There's a lot to be respected about just how hard they're working.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that because the last time they were trying to get 24/1 out, they were throwing hot fixes and patches left and right, massive amount of
Yep.
hot fixes. Hey, Miss Peaches, but that's what I mean. Like I say, when they said that when the post came out, they were going to be working 7 days, and we see a patch drop yesterday. Now we're seeing another one today, which may take us to wave two. They're they're uh, they're putting the work in to get it out and get things fixed. So it's being done. It's being done. Any other comments or thoughts on what's going on with 21 to 24.2, the transition? I've got nothing because I want to get in there and test something out real quick. Ty, anything
I'm
else?
good. I'm
Good.
I've said what I need to say.
Okay. Tone, you all good?
I I'm all good. Me and Ty are going to get together after this and discuss his ideas for me, and we'll go from there.
Alrighty. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this one. Like I said, I put it on the main channel instead of the talk show channel to get more thoughts and feedback and get an idea of where your questions are, what your thoughts are, and things of that nature. So, everybody, enjoy your Sunday. Have a wonderful rest of it, and I will see you all tomorrow. I may be coming on a little bit later, but I will be on. So I will post stuff of what I'm going to be doing, and most likely I'll be in PTU doing a lot of testing. So everybody, have a wonderful Sunday. Have a good one. Take care. And thanks for Ty and Tone hanging out with me and everybody in the chat. Have a good one.
It was on earlier, it was fine.